in the world is the Socratic method? Who knows that? Lizzie, do you know that?
It's discussion, so you learn through talking to other people as opposed to being lectured.
Yeah, so like if I was really doing this, should I be at a podium?
No.
No, but we're doing this because it's like
Fancy.
fancy. Exactly, very good, right? And so who was this Socrates guy?
Ooh.
Who was Socrates? Yes, Dan.
So basically, he bothered all the rich people. He was like, you
What, in
guys,
America?
No, in
Let's
Greece.
be more precise.
He
Let's be
lived
more
in
precise.
Greece.
Yeah.
And he would basically told everybody that had money, he was like, you guys are doing it wrong. You're not living virtuous lives. You gotta become like me. And everybody was like, ooh, they hated him, so they murdered him. Well,
Right, and let's be more specific about that. So when did he live? Do you remember when he lived? So this gets into kind of what classical is in terms of kind of how we move from era to era to era. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Maddie? This classical approach here.
Absolutely. So the integrated history, that's also incorporated in literature that we learn.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? So she's talking about Socrates, right? So what town did he live in? Do you remember?
Oh, town, down to the town. Athens.
Did you hear that, or did that come?
I
to you?
heard the voice of the Lord.
You heard the voice of the
It
Lord.
really
yes.
graced down
Yeah,
on me.
okay, good. All right. So he lived in Athens. Did I hear that right?
Athens.
Lived in Athens, and so what does that mean that we're learning about the philosophy and history of Athens? How does that relate to the literature?
Because it relates to his teachings, and the teachings that he taught in philosophy, and the teachings that make history, we can read and understand more clearly in literature.
So what were some literature books that you guys read last year? Yeah, Luke.
The Odyssey.
The Odyssey. So by who?
Homer.
Homer, right? So the same period of time that and it's rough, right? Because Homer lived a lot earlier than Socrates, but he's living in this Greek world. So how did that work last year? Did you think that makes sense to read a book at the same time that you're learning the history? Why does that make sense, Andy?
Because then you can fully understand what people in that country were going through, and so you can understand why they would write about certain subjects.
Yeah, Maddie.
I think it helps you understand the culture and
Right.
the background of what's going on.
All right, so back to Socrates. What was going on? He was a veteran, actually, of the military. What was going on at that time? And now, you guys should know, in the audience out there, this is last year's stuff, all right? So hopefully they remember it, right? So what was happening? What war was going on? Yeah, Catherine? Peloponnesian War. And do you remember what that was, Dan?
So it was the war between the Athenian League and the Spartan League.
Yeah.
And they had like formed different factions. And the Athenian League, they made a league, but it was basically an empire.
Okay. And what does that remind you of? Like two different parts of the same culture fighting amongst each other? What kind of war is that? Civil War. Did we have one of those?
Yes.
You haven't learned about it. Maybe you learned it at another school. But in 12th grade, we're going to learn about it. So do you think that might inform our knowledge of the American Civil War, this Greek Civil War? Again, now, isn't this cool about the way we learn? I mean, have we even gotten through? I mean, we're still talking about who? Socrates. We can't forget where we were, right? So Socrates, he was this veteran of the Peloponnesian War. And Daniel says, what did he say? It was such a profound way you said it, right? This guy who made other people mad. Is that kind of what it
He
was?
was like,
You made the rich guys mad.
Yeah.
He made the rich guys
he
mad.
would-
People with
Who
power.
was he teaching, Grace, you remember this? Who was he teaching? Was he teaching the rich guys, the adults? Who was he teaching that got him in so much trouble?
Corrupting the youth.
He was corrupt, and wasn't that one of the charges that was brought up? He was corrupting the youth. Remember that?